Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Hope you guys are doing well.
We hope you're doing super well.
So, checking out Arizona, we have the Bighorn wildfire still going on, threatening hundreds of homes. We do have hundreds of people that have been evacuated. Some of the scenes of this at night have been pretty wild and spectacular. Yeah, this was actually caused by a lightning strike and fueled by hot, dry conditions, which we're going to take a look at as well. So this expanded to more than 11 square miles overnight, was only 10% contained as of Friday morning, according to an update from the Coronado National Forest. Let's pray for everybody down in that area. And speaking of drought, we had talked about, I guess it was maybe about a month ago or so, they were talking about a mega drought developing in the West. And it does appear to be happening.
It does appear to be happening, which is really unfortunate, especially right now with, gosh, look at the fire. The fire is absolutely insane.
And of course, we have the California fires the last several years, and each year just seems to get more intense. You know, where there's rain, there's tons of rain, and where there's none, there's absolutely none, and it's bone dry and getting worse. As you see right here, the border between New Mexico and southern Colorado is the area that is highlighted in red here, and this is at extreme levels. So again, we need to get some rain dancing going over that way, right?
That sounds super fun. Yep.
And yet we look over here, and you have Corsica, which is an island off of Italy, and beautiful area, gorgeous. And another picture of cars completely submerged. So yeah, this lies in between Italy and France, and yeah, gosh, that's on my bucket list to see the Mediterranean, because Cindy hasn't seen the Caribbean yet, and the Caribbean is so beautiful, and the Mediterranean looks spectacular. And let's hope that we'll get this world back into a much better norm than it's ever been, and we could start to all kind of enjoy ourselves. Wouldn't that be nice to actually enjoy ourselves more than what we've had going so far in 2020, where you might have a great day because you're unplugged, and then as soon as you plug in, it's like, oh my God.
I'm imagining like a lot less stress, a lot less chaos, just sort of like a unfolding of things and a pleasantness to the atmosphere.
So there's some video to look at, and again, I keep going back to 2017, the eclipse of August. And it just seems from that point on, nothing was ever the same again. And some people point out the revelation symbol, and that happened after that as well. The revelation with the woman and the child and travail, and thinking it triggered the beginning of the tribulation period. Yet, is it really the tribulation, or is it just another big horrible cycle that the earth seems to go through periodically? We've had so many civilizations fall throughout history. So you have firefighters that are searching for people, see if anybody's trapped with the flood waters. We've seen this so many times I can't count it now. You just can't keep track of it. Every day this is happening somewhere. And I don't think it did in the past. This is part of what's going on with the Earth changes, with the grand solar minimum, with the magnetic pole reversal well underway. So you have 5 inches of rain in no time, and just flooding out streets, you would think that you're in a river. And we have it going on in Mexico City as well, along with some hail. And so you also had strong winds as well. This hit on Monday, and you had very quickly rising waters. And these areas that are inundated with the water table, so flooded out, it doesn't take much to get you to that boiling over point. As we can see here, there's videos for you guys to check out. More than 2.6 million affected by deadly floods and mudslides in southern and central China. And again, everything going on is going to add to the crop issues, the famine that we'll be building, and also the scrambling to secure supplies, natural resources And these times ultimately lead to wars as countries try to claim things and try to keep their people satiated so that the people don't overthrow the governments because they're tired of starving, having nothing on the table. This has happened throughout history, and we are going deeper into that, and we could see the chaos that's ensuing on the planet pretty damn easy.
Yeah, it's been an uptick in chaos for sure.
And again, just a little kudos over there to David at Adapt 2030 and Christian, Ice Age Farmer. They do such a good job keeping up with all the food shortages, and they've been way ahead of the game, those two guys. And we thank them for their efforts to wake up as many as possible. Everybody should be having their own garden going. You got to get your own food going. You have to plan, well in advance, because there's no sign of this slowing down. That's the bottom line.
Well, usually with a garden, you should be planting a couple years before you actually need food. It takes time, practice.
Yeah, and if you're putting, trees and stuff, that could take, many years. In one situation, I helped somebody put in like 200 to 300 trees, and then like 3 years later, man, it's an orchard. More than you could ever do with. Yeah, and those were all types of fruiting trees. But that type of planning is what people need to be doing, because right now there is food available, but it's we're going to have hyperinflation. So, everybody's going to be pulling out their Bibles and say, yeah, I know, it says, so much for this, so much for that, as the extravagant items. Who's going to care about the extravagant items when a loaf of bread costs $25?
Exactly. That's so true.
And, look to what happened in Venezuela. And imagine that on a global scale, because that is where we are heading. Not to be fatalistic. This is just being, a realist and trying to plan. And so Cindy and I, our eyes were a little bit bigger, I think, than our stomachs today. I made some really delicious rosemary garlic bread, and I'm getting better at the bread, guys. I'm getting better and better at the bread. I'm actually thinking that maybe when YouTube gets rid of me totally and we're just on BitChute and Brighteon, and maybe we'll transition to making bread and pasta sauce, because it's something I think I do fairly well now.
Gosh, it's mouth-watering. It's so good.
She actually said, why do I need to go to a restaurant? Because I got you.
No, I wouldn't want to go to a restaurant. Not now. You spoiled me.
But I love to cook. It's just part of, it's always been a part of me. Sorry that we're getting sidelined. We'll get back to the weather here. We have tropical depression Butchoy makes landfall in the Philippines. And of course, the Philippines are a series of islands. And so it's actually expected to go out and to strengthen into a tropical storm as it heads towards China. And all the storms will be getting stronger for the most part in these times because of the conditions. It's just a cycle. More volcanic activity, more particulates in the air, which eventually is going to lead to cooling of the planet. And right now we're seeing the rapid swings from one extreme to another as we see a severe sandstorm sweeping through Mongolia. It's pretty ominous looking. And we're going to have 50-plus mile-an-hour winds tonight, too. This one had 78 mile-an-hour winds. Yesterday, driving through the desert, noticed a ton of dust devils. Dust devils, right?
Just dust devils, dirt devils. They're different devils.
Okay. But just big ones, bigger than usual, and a lot of them all over the place. So we have active volcanism found under the heart of Northwest Europe in Germany, still active. They're not worried about a supervolcano erupting in Germany, but then again, the mainline scientists are not worried about a lot of things that all of us, recognize can be issues, because the timelines that they give us don't seem to be legit often. Does seem like things can happen much more rapidly than they say. So we see researchers have found new hints of active volcanism near some of the most populated areas of Europe. The study obtained GPS monitoring data from antenna across Western Europe to monitor subtle movements in the Earth's surface believed to be caused by increasing subsurface mantle plume. Mantle plumes. Those are things to pay attention to. We pay attention to Yellowstone. We pay attention to, Mammoth Lakes, Long Valley Caldera, and others as well. They could be absolutely devastating, and perhaps it's also in this time period a matter of just when we get something that's more on the scale of a VE7, something major, because the cycle, more energy coming in, bombarding the core of the planet, interacting with the mantle itself, and it's all totally connected. The more energy, the more cosmic rays that come in, it's going to give us more geomagnetic activity. It's going to increase the likelihood of increased volcanic activity, as well as the megaquakes that will probably be happening, and many people are feeling that some are imminent. And so we see the mainstream media silent, record-breaking gains continuing across Greenland Ice Sheet. Nobody's speaking about it. And you have new benchmarks for cold and gains. And yet, it is true that in some areas we have ice melting at the most rapid pace. What we have is an absolutely rapid series of events going on that's leading to rapid change. Perhaps not as drastic as the day after tomorrow, although when I'm looking at all those dust devils out there, it does remind me of that scene where there was those mega tornadoes, these gigantic cyclones that develop and just really wipe out city after city. We're not there yet, and let's hope we don't get there, at least in all of our lifetimes, but we are definitely in for a rocky ride. Intense cold front expected to hit all of southern Africa, and as we are heading towards summer officially, and they are heading towards winter, so you are going to get cold fronts. But again, we're getting records on both sides, and this is a big part of why. In times when we have a strong magnetosphere, things kind of stay stable. As the magnetosphere declines, they get very unstable. And that is where we're heading. So, you might have, if you see a dip like this coming on down, it could give you, record colds. It might give you surprise snow in June. And then conversely, when you get the rise, all of a sudden, next thing you know, you got record warm.
Well, it kind of sort of seems like that's happening.
It is. And really, that's all, for the most part, that is really connected with the magnetosphere. And again, magnetic pole reversal underway. Our shields are down, Captain. Little Star Trek reference there. Shields are down. And we have a rare blood rainbow in Calgary. Look at this. That's not Photoshop, guys.
That's pretty stunning. That's incredible. It's beautiful, but in kind of like an ominous way.
We're seeing non-translucent clouds in areas we don't usually see them. We're seeing all sorts of sky phenomena, and many things that appear to be ships in the sky too. And we got to wonder, is it Space Force, the secret space program, or is it somebody else flying through the skies? We got everything going. These are most definitely very interesting times, as the old Chinese saying, may you be blessed to live in interesting times. Well, I guess we're seriously blessed.
Oh my gosh, are we ever? Totally.
And here you have a crater lake changing color overnight. We've seen an awful lot of bodies of water going blood red and pink and different colors. This is due to algae. And, at least in this case, not necessarily industrial, but in many cases it is industrial. Often, what happens in Florida is just an atrocity with the, dumping into Lake Okeechobee around that area. Too much poisoning of the land. Any poisoning of the land's too much. It's part of the whole problem with the corporate world that we have going on. And, we could blame it on the actions that have happened in the past, where people are not looking forward and realizing what is developing, but now we're starting to really pay for it.
Yeah, we are. We really, really are.
So these are 26 emergency items FEMA wants you to own. Well, 11 of them are things that you're essentials according to FEMA for your basic. And of course, none of us want to ever be caught in a FEMA camp. May you never have that. I don't know. I wouldn't. Experience. Yes. But water, obvious. Food, radio, flashlight, first aid kit, whistle, dust mask, sanitation supplies, wrench or pliers, can opener. Yeah, what good is it to have years worth of canned food and you don't got a can opener? And get a backup can opener because our can opener is dying.
It is dying, and yeah, luckily I got it to work just enough to open the sauce for the spaghetti.
Yes, that was almost a tragedy. What would I do with all that garlic without the sauce to put it in? So local maps as well. Think about that. Again, we're so reliant on our phones, but CME is going to hit at some point in time, and it might be something else too. We could have an EMP. The world is getting to be taking steps towards more and more. It looks like a global conflict every day. So other things that you should also have: prescription drugs / glasses. Think about things that, medicines and things like that. Neither of us take anything prescription, period. Everything is herbal and natural. Infant formula, diapers, pet food, extra water, important documents, cash or traveler's checks, emergency preparedness book, sleeping bag, blanket, change of clothing, chlorine bleach, and don't take the president's recommendation with bleach from the past there. Fire extinguisher, fire starters, feminine supplies, mess kits, paper and pencil, and books and games. Keep you guys occupied. So young U.S. men are having a lot less sex in the 21st century. What's up with that? Well, I think there's quite a few things that are adding into it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just a crying shame, but we have all this stress, all the chaos. We have chemtrails. We have, lots of stuff.
So men 18 to 24, prime of life, this is usually when, forgive the expression, the young guys are the horniest, and that's all they're thinking about. Well, 1/3 of them had absolutely no activity in a whole year. And this is, I think, induced by a number of things. One of them, I think, is the increased estrogens. We've been exposed to a lot of plastics. We've been exposed to a lot of all sorts of stuff where we don't even know what we're getting exposed to with what's in the sky every day. But yeah, the increased estrogen, for instance, it's known that sperm rates are declining so fast. Fertility rates declining so fast. It is a perfect storm going on there as well that ultimately will lead to population reduction, along with a lot of other things that are leading to population reduction. What can you say about a perfect storm, guys? What can you say? And I already hear some comments coming on that one. There's also a different trend in relationships and priorities, and even things like gaming. Just saying how many people are addicted to gaming that they're not even interacting as much. How many people are, on their phones. And then, of course, for the last several months, we've been told in some countries you can't have sex if it's not somebody in the household.
Right. Yeah, it's gotten pretty ridiculous the way they're doing it right now.
Yeah, pretty soon we're going to have to check in with our local politicians, our local governance, and say, can I get lucky tonight? I think my wife says it's okay. That's like what we're heading to. And then also just with all the GMOs, there's so many things adding in. And believe me, if you're on any prescription drugs, just look at some of the side effects. I'm sure there's an awful lot there that say may cause erectile issues. It's
sad. It's truly sad.
Yeah, it's completely sad. And if they are going through this at a young age, what's going to happen when they're older as well? And sex could be good and healthy, and it could connect you, when it's done with somebody that you absolutely love. And then we could get into the whole tantric aspect of it, because it could actually open up chakras and heighten your consciousness as well when it's done in that manner.
It's pretty impressive. It can be done great.
As she's smiling. So, studies show group meditation lowers crime, suicide, deaths in surrounding areas. We have talked about this in the past. This is for the new people coming aboard. There's been many studies done that show that group meditation can lower crime rates. So, we need this on a regular basis in this country and around the globe right now. We got to change the atmosphere. We got to change everything that's going on. And, I find personally in these times, a lot of times I'm drawn to when I want to relax, I want to watch something that's kind of action related. But like Cindy was saying tonight, can we just look at something that's, comedy for a change? Because laughter can lift up your spirits. And, another thing I've shared with you guys too is kirtans. And a lot of you probably don't know what a kirtan is, but a kirtan is a traditional Hindu way of expressing joy and gratitude and love and peace. It's kind of almost, it's not quite a hippie sing-along, because it can be done a lot of different ways. And there are traditional kirtans where it's, basically all the Vedic chants. And what you have is somebody leading the group, and they say the chant or the mantra, and then you say it. And then here in the West, we have a little bit more, I wouldn't say we have a little bit more fun. It's different, but we might play with it a little bit more, like speeding it up, throwing in other things as well, like, Christian hymns, Native American things, Jewish things, Islamic. It's a way to break down barriers and just to celebrate life and send energy back to the creator, the source of everything, which then will take that energy, amplify it in a positive direction, and send it back to us.
Which is a super beautiful thing, and I think this is something we should take up way more often than we do.
So I would encourage anybody that could to look into it. And you could look at them online too, just to see. And there's a lot of kirtans online that you could even join live in a different place totally. So did I miss anything? This Vermont man goes on a 75-day silent meditation retreat during the pandemic. So,
the outside world.
He totally blocked off the outside world and didn't really know what was going on, which is a blessing in so many ways again, because I wonder what he felt like after that. I've had friends that have done this, done 30 days. 75 is about as long as I've heard anybody doing, other than some that have taken vows of silence for years and decades. But it's amazing what we can learn and experience when we shut off the outside world and go within. And I would not underestimate that power, because it's life-changing. And then do good, live longer. Volunteering may add years to lifespan, improve overall well-being. And again, service to others turns into service to self, just as the law of one speaks about.
Yeah, service to self can turn into service to others too. So really, it's ultimately first be good to yourself, then you have the energy and the willpower and the ability to go help other people.
And that's a beautiful thing. And this gets me into the thinking about the blue zones, which I keep track of as well. Blue zones are areas on the globe. And I believe there's 7 of them specifically that they've studied, where people live longer and they live way healthier. Like at 100, they're still walking around without a cane. They're still gardening on a daily basis, doing yoga, meditate. It's because of the lifestyle that they live, and also the social lifestyle, because we are social creatures, and they do connect typically to each other and have a nice small knit community. And we are ultimately going to be going back to that system, as this society really is collapsing in on itself right now. The cold, sterile, corporate society that has been created, it's not going to last. And we're going to go back to our roots in so many ways, reconnect with the earth, and we are going to change things. And it's going to change in a big way, and it has to.
Yeah, it does have to. I mean, that ultimately, I feel like that's the blueprint everything's trying to go back to.
So, guys, thank you so much for your support on Patreon and also on Ko-Fi. And we had a couple new Patreons that we wanted to thank.
We want to say thank you to Liz and Nadia. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, guys. Always, we love you guys. As always, stay prepared, keep positive, keep meditating, and keep sending out the love and light to the world.
God bless and namaste.
God bless and namaste.